Hi, Room 5. Welcome back. This probably is Thursday for you guys. And Thursday, of course, is always the day that we read out of Big Blue. And I know some of you are getting onto the McGraw-Hill app. It looks like that. And you guys are finding the stories and you're finding the activities. But for those of you who aren't, or those of you who wanted help today on our reading comprehension, I was going to read the story with you and help you do it. So I mentioned to you earlier in the week when we were reading the ship story that this week actually isn't my favorite. I don't find these stories incredibly interesting, although I was just talking to Teddy and he actually did find them interesting. So I think it's sort of your opinion. But today's is called Building Bridges. And this whole chapter is about building bridges. And sometimes, especially in reading books, we might not always find what we're reading to be super interesting. And it might not be our favorite thing to read about. But what's really important about this type of reading is it's nonfiction. And so what we have to learn how to do as good readers is organize it and remember it as facts. And that's really important. And that's a hard skill to learn, especially as we move on to second grade. In second grade, though, you're going to do lots of big reports and you're going to be expected to read a piece of nonfiction text and pull out those facts. So today I'm going to help you do it. And of course, our question of the week is how things are built. And this is going to talk to us about bridges. So it says, what kinds of bridges are there and how are they built? So what I organized for us on your Google Classroom and right here is we're going to list the names of the bridges that they talk about. And then we're going to list what type of bridge there is, because apparently there are lots of different kinds. People build bridges to get from one point to another. Bridges go across water or land. They can be miles long or only a few feet. Let's look at some of the world's most interesting bridges. So that is important to remember. I know on the walk that I went on this morning, I crossed over quite a few bridges, and it was just because there was a creek running underneath, or because the ground was bumpy and they wanted to make it even. But then, of course, this bridge that you see is built for a completely different purpose. It's a lot bigger than a small bridge in a park. This bridge is in France and goes across a wide valley. It's the highest car bridge in the world. So you can see how big it is. Okay, so here's our first page. And I've already looked through this book. So when I was looking at it, what I noticed was that each page had a different bridge on it. So that's going to help us fill this chart out with facts from the story. The Sunshine Skyway Bridge in Florida stretches for 4 miles. This is a cable-stayed bridge. Sturdy wires help this bridge stay up. The wires are joined at tall towers so they don't fall. This bridge is made of steel and concrete. Okay, so this just gave us our very, very first bridge, and it's called the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. So I think I'm going to do it in orange since it says sunshine. And I'll write right here, the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. And that's already written out for you on your Google Classroom. But now it says type. So if I look back in the actual words, it says right here, this is a cable-stayed bridge. So that's what I would write right here. It's a cable-stayed. And a cable, I would say, is sort of like a metal rope. It's a lot stronger than a regular rope. It's actually made out of metal. Okay, let's look at this next one because it looks completely different. This bridge is more than 2,000 years old. Holy moly. An arch bridge is like an upside down U. This bridge has two big arches for boats to go through. The arches are the same size, which helps balance the bridge. This bridge in Italy is made of brick, so it is really sturdy. So this bridge, we're just going to call the bridge in Italy, and it's an arch bridge. So I'll take a different color. Your paper on Google Classroom says, I'm looking at it right over here, bridge in Italy. So I will write that right here, bridge in Italy. And it said that it is an arch bridge. So it's a completely different type of bridge. And an arch is that rainbow shape. So we have a cable stayed bridge and we have an arch bridge. So we have two different kinds. Okay, next page. The Firth of Fort Bridge in Scotland is a truss bridge. It is built above a river. Do you see the triangles? Oh yeah, I do. See all those triangles? The roadway needs to be supported. The triangle tubes support it. The triangles join each section of the bridge. This bridge is made of steel. Oh, we read about another one that was made of steel, the one in Florida. So this one is called a truss bridge. And it's called the Firth of Forth Bridge. Say that 10 times fast, that's tricky. So I'll put it right here, Firth of Forth Bridge is what it says on your Google Classroom. And it's a truss bridge, which I'm assuming means triangles because it has all those triangles like it said. So cable, remember, means like a metal rope. Then we had an arch bridge, which I'm actually going to draw a little arch next to it because it was that shape. Then we had a truss bridge, which was more the triangle shape. Oh, my favorite bridge coming up. Look at this one. We know that one. Cars pay a toll or money to cross the Golden Gate Bridge in California. This suspension bridge has cables. The cables are supported by towers. Why is the bridge painted a bright color? The builders knew it must stand out in the fog, so they avoided colors like gray and painted it a joyful orange. The Golden Gate Bridge is a famous symbol of the United States, and we know that because we're studying it right now. So I'm going to do our Golden Gate Bridge in red. Probably should have done it in orange, huh? Let's see, Golden Gate. Sorry about my handwriting. I'm trying to keep it neat, but it's tricky. And it's called a suspension bridge. Suspension bridge. And I think that it's really neat that the builders realized that, you know, San Francisco gets so much fog, and fog, oftentimes we call it gray. We say it's dreary and gray. So they knew if they left the bridge in those silvers and those gray colors that so much metal actually is, that it wouldn't be good for boats and airplanes. So that's why they decided on such a brilliant red. All right, last page already. Some bridges are one of a kind. Rolling Bridge is in London, England. What happens when a boat comes toward the bridge? The bridge rises up and curls into a circle. then the boat can pass. There are many kinds of bridges. What kind of bridge can you think up? The bridge is flat, so people can cross. When a boat passes, the bridge begins to move, and then the bridge becomes a circle. That is cool. So this was called Rolling Bridge. Let's see, do another color. Rolling Bridge. And it's in London. And I would say we call this a rolling bridge. I mean, it doesn't actually have what we call it in this paragraph, but it rises up and curls. So I would say that we would call this a rolling bridge. And then if you want, you could draw a circle next to it so you remember the shape that the rolling bridge goes into. So this is kind of what we would do to help us organize all this information. There's a couple more questions on your Google Classroom sheet that I'd like you to go in and try to find out. One of them is, where is the highest car bridge? So what you'd have to do is you'd have to go back and listen to me read it again and see if you could figure out where was that highest car bridge, or go onto McGraw-Hill and see if you can find it. What material was used to build both the Sunshine Skyway Bridge and the Firth of Forth Bridge? So if you remember, it said so in these little captions. So that's why these captions are very important for us to read, okay? Because they really do help with telling the facts. And then the last one, which I know we talked about, was, why did builders paint the Golden Gate Bridge orange? So I want to hear your ideas about these things. So even though bridges might not be your favorite thing to learn about, I know they're probably not mine, unless it's the Golden Gate, it is important that we learn how to take those facts out and we organize them so that they're not just mishmashed in our brain together. So this is a really good graphic organizer to sort of help you remember the difference. Okay, so hopefully this made it a little bit easier, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. There's no place like home. Miss you. Love you.